Well, good morning, all you Mad Monday munters and mutants, and welcome into the Mad Monday podcast, brought to you, as always, by the legends at 4 and 20 Pies. My name is Tino Fa'asua Manaia, and I'm joined by Tohu Hurley, live from the Greater Bay of Plenty region. Ben, it feels like, it feels like a long time since the Warriors played. It was only Saturday, but I feel like I spent all Sunday thinking about it. And so it just feels so long ago. I've had a lot of people, as often happens when the Warriors lose, offer you their sincerest condolences, as if their season's entirely tanked. We're still fourth. How do you feel about the loss on the weekend?
My thought is this. What sort of a team has the Titans as their bogey team? That's not... They are nobody's bogey team. Every team has one, right? And we have to have one. I just didn't ever think it was going to be any kind of team from the Gold Coast. Now, I'm old enough to remember that the Gold Coast, I think this is the fourth iteration of a Gold Coast team. This is definitely the most successful iteration of a Gold Coast team.
Yeah.
And particularly against us, against the Warriors. I don't know what has happened. This has happened the entire time that I've been watching the Warriors, that the Titans have been somewhat dominant against us, and almost always at home.
Yeah, I mean, we only have to look back to last season. In fact, the last time we played them for that 66 drubbing last year, it was a tough watch. I was commentating that game, and it was it's like time stood still during that game.
Yes, I was actually overseas when that game was, and I was in Japan, and I was trying to bounce off a dodgy satellite. Whatever you call it, a satellite to get and I couldn't work it out, and then I just worked it out, and it was I tuned in, and it was already like 44-0.
Yeah,
so
disaster.
Yeah.
Look, if I'm my take on this is one of the most selfless things that the Warriors have ever done. They looked across the pitch. Said this morning on the breakfast show. They looked across and said, Des Hasler, there's been a bit of conjecture around his future at the club and indeed in coaching it all. It's 500th game. Kieran Foran's retiring. This will be the last time we see him in our country. He's been a servant of the game, both for the Kiwis and for the Warriors. And so for us to look at the game, circle it and go, look, it doesn't affect where we sit in the rankings. It doesn't affect where they sit in the rankings. This isn't going to change anything. And I think it was the most, often they talk about how much the Warriors have done for the game, but to see it laid out there for the whole National Rugby League to watch, I thought it was inspirational, and it just showed what Warriors football is all about.
Oh, well, that's delightful. That we are bringing in the Gold Coast brethren. Yeah. Many New Zealanders gone over there to be a bouncer or a scaffolder or a sex worker. And, let's support our brothers and sisters on the Gold Coast.
Well, what is the Gold Coast if not the second Kiwi team? Because there are more Kiwis over there than there are in the South Island. And and I think it was selfless. You're right, they are a bogey team. That they've got dudes out, When I was watching, so going into this game, they were playing all the highlights of like that 66-6 drubbing. Mm-hmm. And you look at it and you think, well, who did all the damage? It was Tino. It was Keanu Kinney.
Yes.
It was all these different guys that weren't playing on Saturday. And so I thought, look, it's not going to happen again. We've built this defensive identity, blah, blah, blah. They're a glass cannon of a team where they can run up 40 points on you, but they'll let in 50. And unfortunately for us, we can't score 50. And I actually think that's probably where we went wrong.
So we're talking about Des Hasler. I think Des Hasler, he's had a lot of ups and downs as a coach, but one thing he can identify is the most obvious weakness in a team. And the most obvious weakness in the Warriors is the fact that our outside backs can't really tackle. Now, if you were going to say that the Titans had any strength at all, it would be that they have great running outside backs, right? So all they did was just give it to them, and they ran through us. And, it wasn't a drubbing by any means. In fact, I would say in the middle of the park, the Warriors, we did pretty well.
No, and I think we kind of flattered ourselves with the try to Roger at the end there, which brought home a multi for me. But it's just, it's the bottom of the table thing. It is that... They talked to Kieran Foran after the game, and it talked about that pass over the top to Phil Sami for his second try, and what he saw there.
Great
and he goes,
pass.
yeah, and he said, I didn't know Phil Sami was out there. He was like, he said, I did a bit of homework over the week, and I saw that he was so polite about it. Dallin likes to get up in the line a little bit. So I decided to throw that pass over the top. So you're right. I've come in here week after week being like, oh, look, Dallin's all right. Don't worry about it too much. But what's happened now is, as former producer of the podcast, Adam Pormana, put into the group chat, betting on Dallin's wing to score against us is free money at this point. And he said that at halftime. They scored again in the second half down that same wing. I don't know. What do we do? Webby won't do anything, though, will he? Like, in terms of swapping players, he won't change that.
Well, look, I've been slightly unkind in the past. Dallin Watson, he's a wonderful attacking player. But I have been slightly unkind in the past and said that he's never successfully completed a tackle in the NRL. And that is not true now, because he did complete a tackle in the NRL this week. Just the player did not have the ball.
At that stage. Because while this is going on, we've got a group chat with all the Mad Monday guys in it, and it's basically live tweeting the entire thing. Separate to that, Joe Jury texts me after that had happened, and he goes, oh, well, at least he can't jam in from the bin. Which was sadly hilarious.
Brian Kelly, Cam Pereira, AJ Brimson had a great game. Like they just knew, and actually Jaden Campbell just knew to take the ball out the back of the ruck and run towards that wing.
Yeah.
And it is a lot to ask on our centres. I think we've got pretty solid centres.
Yeah, but it was Capewell this week, as good as he is, I'm sure he'd prefer being second row, just one further in. So
I thought Adam Pompey had a pretty good game, but unfortunately Kurt Capewell is in his late 50s and he can't cover everybody.
Yeah, but then what's the answer then? Because I think it's probably not Ed Cossey, it's probably not disrupting that edge by bringing a different person in, or is it Tate?
No, this is the crazy thing, and I think everyone is surprised as we are. Like, are we going to have to buy a wing? Like, that's the Warriors used to be all wings, right?
Yeah.
That was their problem. We had too many wings and centre three quarters, and now it looks like we're going to have to buy one from somewhere else because there's no one coming through. Unfortunately, Ed Cossey is a little bit too much rocks and diamonds.
Yeah.
I think off-season, that needs to be our first priority as a big-name winger.
What's Ken Maumalo up to? Could we dust him off? David Fusitua set the record for, tries scored in that season, 2018.
Oh, and we lost a winger last year, again,
Marcelo.
who's in his late 50s, to the Bulldogs, and he's having a stormer year.
Yeah, he is. Wingers always look better on the end of a good team. That's why the Panthers have made so much money for outside backs over the last 5 years. Taruva, Charlie Staines, all these guys have just made mint off that. But, I don't know. I really don't. All I know is Webby's not going to change the lineup. But I do wonder, and I think I said this last week, is it time we just said to him, I don't care if we lose 100 points to 0 and every single one of those tries was scored just inside of you. Just stay on the wing. Do you know what I mean?
I know. It kills me. Because it's every time. And I'm like, I'm not an NRL coach.
Neither. Yeah.
I would say my analysis of a game is mediocre at best.
Oh.
Yet we can all see that. How does he not see it?
Well, that's the part I don't get, because I'm like, surely if it was as simple as just stay out on your wing, then that's what they would be doing. So it's obviously not. But no, I don't know.
Sure, yeah, I know. You self-doubt, don't you? Immediately. You go, clearly I'm reading the game wrong because these guys are professionals. Surely they know more than me.
That's right. I'm going to need to... Is it time we got an expert on to discuss it?
Why is Dallin's defence slightly lacking? Look, Webby said it in the press conference. He said we got away with one against the Knights, which I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah. And then we've lost, not narrowly, but we've lost this game against the last place side. And the trauma in me is asking, is this it? Is this the cracks? Is this the cracks starting to show in a team that has lost some key personnel.
Yeah, and on that note, and something that you put into the group chat, the other top 4 teams really put in a good display this weekend. They put up 40-point drubbings, the Bulldogs and the Raiders both. I mean, the Raiders last night were tied at halftime, 18-all, and then ran away and absolutely blasted the other team. The Bulldogs, a similar sort of story. It's like, we are the outlier in the top 4. And that, I mean, we're just lost to the Titans. I couldn't see the Bulldogs even Melbourne beat the Roosters on Thursday.
Yeah, it is that time of the year, and I think this happens every year where defences are starting to crumble a little bit. There's a lot of injuries. A lot of your key defenders are out now.
Yeah.
There's so many points in the weekend. It was actually ridiculous. There were some close games, but even the close games had a lot of points. 38-32 Cowboys Dragons. Storm Roosters 34-30, Eels Broncos 22-20, and then there's those drubbings that you talked about, Manaia. Panthers Tigers 36-2, Raiders 44, Knights 18. Even the Knights got 3 over the line, and the Bulldogs 40 points over the Seagulls last thing on Sunday as well.
Yeah,
we are the only team that doesn't seem to be in that top 4 that doesn't seem to be breaking down these smaller teams.
No, and even in that top 4, you can see that there's actually almost 3 tiers within the top 4. There's Raiders and Bulldogs, who I reckon are about 1A and 1B. Then the Melbourne Storm, there's a bit of a question mark because they lost Hughes, but then, they still won that game. And then there's us. And all year, all of the Australian media have been talking about, the Warriors, they're top 4, but, they probably won't be there when it comes to the end of the season, but we will. Maybe if we're looking for silver linings, is this exactly where we want to be? Do we want to be going as that top 4 banana peel? Do we want to be underestimated by other teams?
Yeah, probably. I think that sits better with our kind of psyche. Absolutely. But look, knocking on that door is the Panthers, who have just won 7 in a row.
Yeah.
And are they 5th now?
Don't look now. They are 5th. Yes, that's right. Yeah, they were bottom of the
literally
table.
Knocking on our door.
And I heard an interview with, I believe it was Nathan Cleary the other day. He was saying that, it's a long season and teams often front load the start of the season, but the competition's won in the back half of the season. And you've seen him take time off for various reasons over the last few seasons. Are we starting to see what they know about what it takes to win a championship come into the forefront? Because we came out the gates blaring, and now all of a sudden all of our best players are injured.
Are you saying that the Panthers are like Peter Snell when he won a gold medal in the 1,500 metres, and he just needed to be in the top 4 at the bell, but he didn't want to be first?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, and I know all of that based solely on an old Weet-Bix ad, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, and I think they must have seen the same ad because I reckon that's exactly what they're doing. Final note that we've got in our rundown here, Leka Halasima. Again, you talk about free money. Betting on him to score a try, that seems to be the easiest money you can make at the moment. He was $2.50, and I don't think anyone thought he wasn't going to score on the weekend.
He's like Jeremiah Nanai, but he's bigger.
It's funny you say that because we interviewed him. Di and I were the first people to interview him. We said this on the podcast last week. In the shop window of a Hallensteins on Queen Street in Auckland. We interviewed him, Tanner Stowell Smith, and Chance. And I said to him, I was like, you look, the way you play is like a Jeremiah Nanai sort of. Who was your favourite player growing up? And he goes, Greg Inglis.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I was like, oh, interesting. I got to be honest, over the last couple of weeks, that's what he's looked like. He's been that good.
Can I also give a shout out to, is it Dietrich Weimonga? Dimitrik. Fantastic off the bench. That's an impact player. Hasn't quite had the same explosion into the NRL that Leka Halasima has, but I thought he was one of our best players on Saturday.
You're right. If Leka wasn't having the season that he is, I think we'd all be talking about Dimitrik, because there was that game the other week where he scored one himself, then he threw a no-look to set someone else up for another one. You're right, and he's coming off the back fence, off the kickoffs as well.
It's just energy. It's fantastic. Yeah, Tanner Stowell Smith is good. I actually think we've got a fantastic bench at the moment.
Yeah, great young players.
Yeah.
But The greatest attribute that both Leka and Dimitrik have is that they twist commentators' brains into a pretzel. No commentator has yet been able to identify each of them. It was it was like Adam Pompey and Ali Laatawa at the start of the season at the end of last year. It's like, who, which one? I don't...
Yeah, that was a real problem. I mean, thank God we don't have the Ball brothers anymore.
No.
Because yeah. I mean, just as a commentator, it just made you look so racist.
Oh, dude.
Like, there's a brown bald guy. That must be the same guy.
Oh, I'm sitting there going, but you know every single one of the Trebojevic brothers and can spell that. But these guys are doing your head in? I don't know. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and preview the next game, which is going to be the Finns this weekend. Well, just quickly, over the past 10 weeks, we've been running the Mad Monday Try and Pie Fly-Off, and I can announce that David Woods has been drawn as the winner. Congratulations, David. You have won return flights, accommodation, tickets for you and a mate to the Warriors vs Dragons game on August 15th, plus $500 cold hard cash. All thanks to our mates at 4 in 20. A hell of a prize. Congratulations to you, David Woods. All right, we're playing the Dolphins this weekend. This is August 1st. We will be at home, Friday night game, 8 p.m. How do we feel going into this one?
Well, you see, I've got the Dolphins somewhere around the Panthers as a dark horse team this year.
Yeah.
Now you've recently gone and watched the Dolphins live, is that correct?
It's funny you say that, Ben. I have. Yeah, I was just over at Suncorp. Suncorp the other day. For anyone just listening and not watching the video, I've got a fin on my head now. They hand out these foam fins at the game. Man, this is actually giving me a headache. But it's a great bit of kit. What would our home bit of kit be, do you reckon? Because they've got the foam fins you can put on your head, or what a lot of people do is put it on your hand, and then when they score, you wave your fin. Could we get like a patu or something going?
Oh, patu would be good.
Yeah.
What about a rubber tongue so it looks like a really massive pukana? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mind that. I'll tell you what, people love free shit, and you put one of these things on your head and you feel like you're the biggest Dolphins fan. It was over at Suncorp, which is a hell of a stadium.
What's your Dolphins fan look like?
Dolphins fans are weird. I think there's two types of Dolphins fans that I noticed. The first is the person who's a genuine Dolphins fan and has been for the entirety of that club's history, you know, going to the Q Cup games and that. And there was a few of them. These two old ladies who were dressed up like ladybugs for some reason. They were all in red. Okay. They'd made that. And I was like, oh, I love your costume. And she goes, it took me so long to make. Cheers. And then walked off.
Oh.
Beauty. So there's that. The dyed in the wool, I love the Dolphins, can't believe they're back in the NRL. And then I think there's the Brisbane hipster who's just like, fuck the Broncos. I want to be a Dolphins fan.
Hipster team, okay.
Yeah, that was the vibe I got because I saw so many Dolphins fans. I mean, obviously it was the Dolphins home game, but on Caxton Street before the game. So yeah, I think it's the hipster fan, and I think it's the dyed in the wool fan, which I suppose is like any
look, our friend and colleague Di Henwood's a real a hater. I think is the only word to say of the Dolphins.
Oh yeah,
and I think he's just trying to find a team to hate because it's a weird team to hate, but. He does make one good point, which really annoys me about the Dolphins, is why aren't they Redcliffe? They've gone out of their way to say they're not the Redcliffe Dolphins anymore. And I know it's probably to do with attracting more sponsors or whatever, but have some pride. Like, be Redcliffe. You are Redcliffe.
Yeah, I don't really know why that is either. I thought it was something to do with the amount of home games they're going to play at Suncorp and trying to... distance themselves from that. It's like our KFC, and I hope that they come back on board and sponsor us, but they're no longer Kentucky Fried Chicken. They're not called Kentucky Fried Chicken because they don't want to be associated with the chicken. They don't want you to think of it. They just want you to think of delicious, delicious KFC. So it's some sort of branding thing. But anyway.
I mean, if they wanted to do that, I mean, I obviously, you know, the Warriors do this a little bit by calling themselves New Zealand.
Yeah.
Even though they're very much an Auckland team.
Yeah.
But, you know, they could have been the North Brisbane Dolphins, I guess.
Yeah,
that would have helped, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But they're the exact kind of team that tears us to shreds. Watching Herbie Farnworth live in the flesh, him and the Hammer, and they're coming up against that right edge of ours.
Yeah,
we sat there. We were in the left-hand corner in the first half with our attack. They scored about 4 tries in that first half against the Cowboys, and Herbie looked inevitable. Every time he touches the ball, it's like, man, they can't do anything about this. And they do tricky stuff where he swaps out to the wing for some plays, and then the hammers on the wing, and they've got they're doing a lot of different kind of stuff. And I just think that's our exact weakness. I think the hammer's free money this weekend.
He might be free money, yeah.
Yeah, Heart says was. Head says the Dolphins might be too strong this weekend. And I know that our TAB hunch is the Warriors to win 13 plus, which is paying $3.30. Not as much as I thought. I would have thought Warriors 13 plus would be about 7.
Now, I should have probably looked this up, but how many of our losses this year, how many have been at home? I'm going to say the majority.
Most? Yeah.
I would say most. It just didn't used to be the case, did it? It was always the fortress. That was Mount Smart.
Why is that?
I mean, we won the games we don't normally win, which are the ones in New Zealand but somewhere else, like we won in Christchurch.
Yeah.
We never usually do that. But yeah, there's something about Mount Smart that's a bit of a hoodoo this year. I don't know what or why that is.
No, neither do I. My best guess would be because we think we should win it, but I don't think the players are thinking that way. I think that's just the fans. No, I don't know. I couldn't tell you because it's all sold out. You know,
yeah.
The buzz is there, the vibe is there. I genuinely do think that this is probably one of the worst teams we could come up against this weekend. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that this is getting clipped up next week, being like, geez, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But I don't know. I don't think I am.
And I hate to tell you, but so we've got the Dolphins, and then who do we have the week after that?
Well, the
we've got the Dragons.
Resumes.
That should be.
No, sorry. It's Dolphins. Then the week after that, we've got the Dogs.
Oh, Dogs, yes.
But the other thing is we do play to the level of our opponents. So
yeah, that's well. I mean, particularly this year. That's why we've got absolutely no points differential.
yeah. We're just a mirror match. So yeah, Dolphins, then Dogs, Dragons, Titans.
Oh, well, Titans.
Titans again.
Yeah. Imagine having to play your bogey team twice in the last 6 weeks.
I know.
And that bogey team happens to be the Cellar Dweller Titans.
God, we're going to be in our heads before that game. That one's going to scare the piss out of us.
I think that's the key. We're in our heads now.
Yeah.
And all it's taken was a very narrow win against the shit side and then a loss against the shit side.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden you got the yips.
Yeah.
And you're like, I know I can hit this driver, but for some reason when I'm standing over the ball, I just don't know.
So where's the Dragons' weakness? Where do we hit them? Where's it? I mean, our strengths are our edge forwards, right?
The Dolphins, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry, Dolphins. Yeah.
I think through the middle. I think we muscle them up. They've got a lot of injuries as well. The Dolphins. They've got a lot of players who are out. I think we just rumble them through the middle. The gutting thing is we don't have Wade because of the HIA.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about that too, actually. Like, we've actually had a really good run with Wade. I know he's been injured once this year, but it wasn't a head injury for once. But honestly, seeing that head injury when he went down in this game, I was like, well, that used to happen 3 times a season.
Yeah, I mean, there's every chance it happens another 3 times from here on out. But, I don't know. So I presume, maybe by the time you listen to this, you'll know, but I presume they'll start Sam Healey.
Yeah, Sam Healey, I thought had a good run out a few weeks ago off the bench. So, yeah, I'm always been a big fan of Tamaiti Martin, but I don't think that's his key position as hooker. So I think if something happened to Chanel Harris-Tavita, we'd see him slot into 6. But I wouldn't want him as starting hooker.
Nah. Neither. I think Sam Healey gets a start, and I think he'll go good too. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think rumbling them up the guts, I think it's too much to say we need Leka to have a good game for us to win this. Like, he is still a rookie.
He had a pretty key drop in the weekend as well.
Yeah,
I know it's ridiculous to say like one knock-on can make a difference, but handling is so good in the NRL now with teams, just getting 95 and 100%. Completions and stuff like that.
That's basically what the Titans did against us, yeah. Well, just while we're talking about the Warriors again, and we've relapsed into Wars chat, I think RTS is playing outstanding football at the moment. Hasn't he looked great?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he needs to get that money up to go to Saudi Arabia. So,
100%. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and talk a little bit of SuperCoach as we approach the pointy end. Welcome back to the Export Beer Garden studio. Ben, how did you go in your SuperCoach over the weekend?
Not good, Manaia. Not good.
No.
Look, a couple of weeks back, I won 2 in a row. And then I've dropped now. I dropped against Dai, and I dropped against, I think, Adam Pomana on the weekend. Was his birthday, so I gave him the win.
Yeah. What a present.
No, look, this is the first week that I'd had so many players to choose from, and I chose the wrong ones.
Oh, you had some sit
normally I'm struggling to get my 18, is it 17 players?
Yeah.
On the park, but to get it have enough. But I actually had players on the bench this week, and
wow.
Yeah, I managed to choose the wrong ones. So
yeah,
be careful what you wish for.
I'm in a situation that I find myself every year where I nuff out players as they start getting injured at this point of the season. So
yeah,
Keon Kaloa-Matangi or whatever, I'll shuffle dudes around. I've got basically half of my bench is guys that do not play. And that really backs me into a corner when someone does get injured, because all of a sudden I've got no one to replace him and I'm scrambling. I've got plenty of trades left. The fires I need to put out this week are Jerome Hughes. I feel like a lot. Did you have Jerome Hughes? Yeah,
I got to get Jerome Hughes and Wade Egan this week.
Oh, you had Wade Egan?
Yes, I had Wade Egan. He's been great for me. I think like in terms of a hooker that scores points, like there's not many that do. So he's a good solid 50 every week.
Yeah, a few weeks ago I had sort of a must-win matchup, and I didn't have a hooker. I was running that ridiculous, I think it was the Mamazelis Sandon Smith situation.
Oh yeah.
And I went for Harry Grant because I was like, look, just take the blue chipper, you know he's good. And then all of a sudden Blake Brayley goes ape shit. Everyone's got him. I was like, ugh, guts. Then on the weekend, Harry Grant goes out and scores 113. And I've been right for the wrong reasons because I couldn't get rid of him, and now he's just gone gangbusters, and I think he will continue to. But Hughes, are you just going straight to whichever one of Nico or Cleary you don't have?
Yeah, I don't think I can quite afford him, one of those.
So
they're not equivalent, are they?
Yeah, don't think so.
No, although I can drop some money on a hooker because I've done I actually got 2 hookers. I have a reserve hooker who doesn't play hooker, which is Phoenix Crossland. So he's in at hooker. So I can probably save some money there and just buy a nobody for Wade.
Yeah.
And then trade up on the.
I've got you, man.
On the halfback, yes.
Kalani Going is a warrior. He plays in the New South Wales Cup. He will not be playing.
Brilliant, thank you. You know, one of my players that that is minimum price that I have, that I've had all season because I can't get rid of him. I only bought him because he's got your first name.
Oh, is there a Manaia in the league?
There's Manaia Waititi, who plays, he doesn't play for the Canberra Raiders.
Oh, just like me. I don't play for the Canberra Raiders either.
And when you look at all those minimum price players, you're like, who do I choose? Like, you want someone who might play, and I'm like, nah, that's not going to happen. I'll just choose. Oh, there you go. There's one called Manaia.
A real honour and a privilege to be in your team there, Ben. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. So good luck this week. I think there's still a couple of fires. There'll be people who still have your Dylan Lucases and your whoever else, Keon Kaloa-Matangis that were injured last week. So good luck. Just hold on by the skin of your teeth. Captain whoever's playing against the Tigers is my only advice from here on out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, great call.
Brilliant. All right, well, let's knock this thing on the head, shall we? Enjoy your rugby league this week, and we'll see you next week.
Up the wires.
Up the wires.
And Australia without rugby league is not Australia.